So did you have a more pleasant morning or night now?
Oh, well, with the Airbnb situation, it was much better. Not as pleasant.
I don't think we've ever gotten that.
No, that was the most probably disturbing, at least in that aspect. We've had much more disturbing Airbnbs than that, actually, but
Not in that way.
in that way, that was the most disturbing. But today's subject matter is to make an ass out of you and me. You've heard that saying, what happens when you assume. So Shringi, he assumed, if we remember, that Shringi assumed that he should try to act as God and be the punisher of Parikshit, even though he didn't really get any consultation from these actions, and he just started acting whimsically, which is a tendency of all of us. We just start to rely on our own mind, and instead of understanding what the scriptures are saying, instead of understanding what the spiritual masters, the sadhus, are saying, instead of understanding what our spiritual guidance in our life would want, we just act independently. And and then what they say, the Western axiom, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me, So Shringi made an ass of himself, and then now he's also put Parikshit and the whole world actually into an incredible difficulty due to his assumptions. So we have to try not to be like Shringi. And we're going to see that he was also trying to defend his own father, but then even his father is considering his activities to be like ass-like. So this was the whole point of why Shringi, he was very proud of his familial lineage, and now even his family, even he's condemned in his own family for this action. So his father said, "Alas, what a great sinful act was performed by my son. He has awarded heavy punishment for an insignificant offense." So this is never to be done. If something is small, you give it a small punishment if need be. But to over punish is greatly sinful. And so this is an obvious case of over punishment, where you curse someone to die for a dead snake garland. And then not just somebody, the emperor of the world, who's keeping the whole world in check in piety and all these things. So anyhow, this is what happened. Let us chant our Mangala Charna. Oh, the reason we switched the program, by the way, is because I've been hearing lectures. I've known this for a very long time, but our acharyas recommend that we chant bhajans in the morning, and then we also chant them in the evening. In this way, Prabhupada had a whole program every day for the devotees. In the morning you do many things, chanting and so much, and then you go out all day and do service, and then you get back, and in the evening, before Maya can catch you, you go back into more bhajans and chanting. Yeah. What's that?
Sundarti, isn't it called?
Yeah, the Sunday Arti, yes. So, what's that?
We used to do bhajans.
Yeah, well, so anyway, I was thinking about it, and we pack it all on in one thing, and mainly I did because so the people online could hear, but I'm actually thinking more about the benefit of us who are here in person, that we should gather and do bhajans, and maybe that will inspire us to not get involved in so much nonsense.
To be wearing those shoes in the morning and evening.
Yeah. So.
Well, what time in the evening are you figure?
Oh, I haven't done yet. Just any time before bed. Whoever's here, we just gather.
To do it, like,
I don't know if we'll
Fusion,
do formal.
Tulsi and all of them lived here. We would do it between like 8.
Yeah, we do it
9,
sometime between 8 and 9, but I
It wasn't
haven't.
like set.
Maybe I'll have to get set and formal, but we haven't decided yet. But I do know that our acharyas are recommending we do like this, and so this morning I was getting the inspiration. And I also know my wife in Abhiram would also. She always is asking me to do bhajans, but I'm already not bhajan that. Did you just spit all over me?
The only thing you changed is you skipped one bhajan this morning, no?
Yeah.
You did everything else.
Yeah, we did everything else. We'll just skip that one bhajan and we'll do it in the evening. And that way we'll be reminded of what is really important in life. Because sometimes we're like, all right, I'm going to go do my bhakti, and then Now the rest of the day is from whatever I want, you know. But actually, bhakti should always be the process. So we're gonna split it up and have in the evening we'll do some type of bhajan. Probably around 8 o'clock. I think that's a good time. So at least I will.
Well, will you put it online when you do it?
I wasn't thinking of doing it, but if people really,
because that's a tough time of day for me. But if you're gonna put it online, I mean.
Yeah, you know, we can maybe put it online, especially if someone wants to hear. Then why not? But
I'm
yes.
just asking.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. Maybe Madhav will help with this arrangement.
There's times when I can't. I'm not.
It's too much to come just for a bhajan and things like that. But just for even our own personal practice, it's good to sit and chant bhajans in the evening. It's always good to sit and chant bhajans, but if you just do everything in the morning and then the rest of the day is for whatever the devil's playground in the mind, then next thing you know, you're engaged in all kinds of nonsense. So at least I want to give us a chance here at the ashram to engage the consciousness properly in the evening as well. So we'll do a bit more of bhajans in the evening. So anyway, that was my idea, and it's not my own idea. It's done by previous acharyas, so I think it'll work. I'm almost certain it'll work. So, but let's chant our Mangala Charana. Madhav, where did this go? There. So you can do that.
Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Kadati Swapurantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Japadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaisnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Svaguruna Tinditam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Param Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakanvitam Shcha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gokuta Radhakanta Namostute Tathakantana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priya Namaskapati Vishta Nivasindu Vivacha Patitanam Kamani Vaishnavya Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Chamane Nirvishesha
So, I offer my obeisances to our whole lineage of spiritual masters who are profusely blessing us, and including Srila Prabhupada and with his wonderful Bhaktivedanta purports for the Srimad Bhagavatam. I offer my obeisances to my Shiksha and Diksha Guru, Shiksha Gurus and Diksha Gurus here in this life, helping me move forward. Without their mercy, I cannot move anywhere. And then my obeisances to all of the Vaishnavas, past, present, future, including you guys, and even Abhiram is a future Vaishnava, hopefully. So, let's chant this Bhagavatam. Oh, we're out of purports. So, okay. Navai nirbir nara devang parakyang
Nara Devang Parakyam
Samatumar hasya vipakva budhe
Samatumar Hasya Vipakva Budhe
Yat tejasadur vishahena gupta
Tejasador Vishahena Gupta
Vindanti badran yakuto baya praja.
Vindanti Pradhan Yakutobya Yaya Pradaha
Na, never. Vai, as a matter of fact. Nirbhi, by any man. Naradevam, unto a man god. Pada Akyam, who is transcendental. Samatum, immature. Budhe, intelligence. Yat, of whom. Tejasa, by the prowess.
I don't want to. Someone
Oh, did I? Arhasi is by the prowess. Oh. Samatum, place on equal footing. Arhasi, by the prowess. Avipakva, unripe or immature. Budhe, intelligence. Yat, of whom. Tejasa, by the prowess. Dirvishahena, unsurpassable. Gupta, protected. Vindanti, enjoys. Badrani, all prosperity. Akutabaya, completely defended. Praja, the subjects. Oh my boy, this is Shamakarishi speaking. Oh my boy, your intelligence is immature, and therefore you have no knowledge that the king, who is the best amongst human beings, is as good as the personality of Godhead. He is never to be placed on an equal footing with common men. The citizens of the state live in prosperity, being protected by his unsurpassable prowess. So this is actually a Vedic injunction that the king is actually seen to be the Lord's representative in this world, the governmental head. So it's actually one of the, one of the worshipable personalities in our life, even if they're, not so pleasant. Just like it said in the Vedic injunctions, a wife, even if her husband is not so qualified, because he's in the position of husband, she should serve him with proper respect and care, even if he is not qualified to be served. So similarly, the citizens of the state, we should also serve the king in that way, even though he's not very qualified, but you should, have basic levels of respect and servitude, obviously, to the laws, or you're going to be in trouble.
I read somewhere that Krishna actually picks the president of the United States.
That Krishna picks it?
Picks the president of the United States.
Wow, Krishna's arranged, not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's sanction.
I mean, personally, supposedly, and it was a long time ago that I read that, but I think it was Prabhupada that said it.
Yeah, I'm sure what he's referring to, I'm not sure there's an expansion of Krishna who's coming just for picking presidents, but what I'm sure what Prabhupada's referring to is that, through Krishna's expansions within the super soul, within the heart of all living entities, Krishna is perfectly arranging everything, including the presidents, including the perfect punishments for all the living entities in this world, all of the proper arrangements. So in that way, I can't speak as a matter of fact with what Prabhupada meant, but from what I understand of the scriptures, yes, Krishna's picking the president and the secretaries and everything. Krishna's personally picking every single facet of life. The unique lessons that you need to learn, the unique people you need to associate with to, get different, experiences in life. So everything's perfect. But yes.
Because people get mad over, so many things, but the devotee understands that actually this is Krishna's plan. This is what Krishna's allowing
Yes.
and choosing. So.
Well, that's why I keep adding, with Trump especially, it's like, Krishna, what is your plan here?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And
just
all the violence, I think, comes from the having slaughterhouses.
yeah. Well, that's the thing is everyone wants to blame it on him, but actually, like it's their
It's
own
just-
doing,
it's just-
participating in so many faulty
It's just
things.
the karma of
we
it.
get what's coming.
Yes, we deserve a
It's
Trump.
like the collective karma.
We
but
deserve,
it's just-
you know, a Biden. We deserve all
Actually,
these.
the thing is, we deserve a lot worse.
Yeah, we
But
actually.
like by Krishna's mercy, he's given us. like
Krishna's actually given us a pretty good deal, actually, because we all are, you know, quite sinful lifetime after lifetime. So, yeah, no problem. So anyway, this is, you know, should be understood, and Shringi should have known this. You know, Shringi never should have thought he could take a superior position to the king, and not recognizing the king has a special position. And even if he did transgress etiquette, which he did, that to react in that way was inappropriate. Alakshamane Naradeva Namni
Alakshamane Naradeva Nami
Rithangapana Vayamangalokaha
Ratangapana Vayamangaloka
Tadahi Chora Prachudo Vinangshyati
Dahichora Prachara Vinashati
Yarakshamano Vivarutha Vakshanat
Arakshamano Vivarutava
Alakshamane, being abolished, Naradeva, monarchical, Namni, of the name, Ratha Angapano, the representative of the Lord. I am this, Anga, oh my boy, Loka, this world, Tadahi, at once, Chora, thieves, Prachara, too much, Vinangshati, vanquishes, Arakshamana, being not protected, Avivaruthavat, like lambs, Shanat, at once. This word Prachura I've seen in the Mana Shiksha, where he says, Frajay Radha Krishna Prachura Paricharyam Iha Tanu. But he's saying he wants to have too much service to Radha and Krishna. You know, like in material things there is a too much, but prachura is used in the positive in service to Radha and Krishna. So we want to have an overabundance of service. So I just think that's an interesting reflection. But anyway, my dear boy, the Lord who carries the wheel of a chariot is represented by the monarchical regime. This was actually Bhaktisiddhanta's point to Prabhupada, because you've heard this story when Prabhupada.
I don't know, tell me this.
So when Prabhupada first came to Bhaktisiddhanta, he was joining Gandhi's movement, and Gandhi, you know, they were protesting the British, and they wanted Indian independence.
Just gonna pull that off with the cushion.
Yeah. So they wanted Indian independence. And so Prabhupada was at first, our Prabhupada was a Gandhi supporter and follower, you know, and even didn't take his degree and joined, you know, Gandhi's camp as protest. So, but ultimately, you know, so Bhaktisiddhanta was preaching Krishna consciousness, and Prabhupada was like probably the most fiery and also like inquisitive of all of his friends. So when they visited Bhaktisiddhanta, what he said to him is how can we worry about this when we're not even free as a country? You know, we're not even free in our own country. Why should we worry about our this God consciousness when we don't even have basic freedom? And Bhaktisiddhanta's point was that regimes come and go in this world, and you know, who's to say that the next regime will be better than this one? You know, but ultimately, you know, they'll come and go and for eternity in this world. But this need for the understanding Krishna consciousness and spreading this all over the world, this is eternal. This is what always needs to be, and it's not dependent on any regime. It's not dependent on anything, any material consideration.
No fleeting.
Yes. So actually, Prabhupada, he was defeated. he felt very sufficiently defeated to see, why, yes, this is what I am worrying about is material, it is temporary, it's not lasting, but this thing is of the topmost importance. So, anyway, he was surprised to hear that the British, who were so treacherous in their occupation of India, much more treacherous than we have here, so treacherous, and he was just saying, who's to say the next regime is going to be better than this one? The same material problems are going to exist.
Well, most likely worse because of Kali Yuga and the degradation of it.
Yes, actually, there was no obstacle to them practicing Krishna consciousness. So Bhaktisiddhanta very famously, because it wasn't just Gandhi's camp that came to Bhaktisiddhanta and said, please use your men and your influence to promote this new movement. And he said, no, there's no obstacle to practicing Krishna consciousness here. And then there was another, Subhash Chandra Bose, he's actually, the one who was probably most responsible for India gaining its independence. But his camp also approached Bhaktisiddhanta, and he preached the same thing. No, we don't engage in these affairs. If you're, whatever regime is ruling, as long as we can practice Krishna consciousness, we don't mind. And so this should be understood. But we should also understand the Lord, who carries the wheel of a chariot, is represented by the monarchical regime. So whoever's ruling, this is actually the Lord's representative. Like as Prabhupada said, maybe this verse was the inspiration, that Krishna picks the president. Krishna's picking everything here. And when this regime is abolished, the whole world becomes filled with thieves, who then at once vanquish the unprotected subjects, like scattered lambs. So even now, I know there's a whole lot of protest that the president is going into different parts of the country with a task force, and they're removing people who are, illegal immigrants, but who the government considers thieves off of the system, And everyone is having a hard time with this. Well, at least one side of the equation is having a hard time with this. But actually, this is what happens if strong leadership is not there, is that people will come and really loot the people. Like actually, I know right now they're doing things in Minnesota. But one of the reasons Minnesota has attention is some Republican, what was he, like a podcaster or like a YouTuber, he's something. But he knew that there was a bunch of fraudulent daycares, so he would go to the daycares and be like, I want to enroll my son. And they didn't have any facility to enroll, but they're getting millions and millions of dollars from the government to enroll them. It was just like a Somalian or whatever it was. But they were looting, they were funding money to a different country, and they were making big bucks and living nice, lavish lifestyles and not doing anything. And they were just looting the taxpayer and the government. But this is actually exactly what will happen if there's not a strong king, if there's not a strong ruler. Thieves and rogues will run rampant in the government and all around. So I think it's actually interesting that the government is doing something about these things. Because this is actually, this is what happens when a strong leadership is not. What's that?
They're using that as an excuse.
Yeah, maybe.
To get their quota.
Yeah, maybe so. One set of thieves to a different set of thieves.
It's bad on both sides.
Yeah. One set of thieves to a different set of thieves. But it's due to the thievery that they have their excuse for doing what they want to do now, and that thievery is legitimate. We have to be like, yeah, that's crappy. And so that's our.
So even though Trump's doing his own thievery, we're supposed to still treat him as.
Well, whoever's in power, we are just supposed to just give them basic respect and just follow the rules. That's what we're supposed to do. That's the representative of the Lord. That's really nothing. What power do we have to do? If we go out there on the side of the street for weeks on end and protest signs and boards, nothing's going to change like that. But if there's a real gross like for instance, a lot of the things like the hippies and stuff were doing, they did form a lot of counterculture movements to gross injustices like war and things. Like we don't have to, we don't try to overthrow the government, but we will protest. We're not going to eat meat. We're not going to support this. We're not going to support intoxication. We're not going to support these things. But at the same time, what can you do? You can't. We're not in a position, to really, if.
Also, it's getting in the way of Krishna's arrangements for everyone. It's the collective karma of everyone, yeah? So Krishna's arranging everyone's like just fruits. Who are we as individual souls to get in the way of their purification?
Yeah, but on the other hand too, there was multiple disciples that Prabhupada encouraged in politics and encouraged to promote Krishna conscious ideals. I mean, even Tulsi Gabbard, who's in a very prominent position, she got sworn in on Prabhupada's Gita. I actually once was in a kirtan with her, doing it once in a kirtan. Now, I'm not saying she's purely representing, but this is actually what Prabhupada, these are the people that can maybe do something about it. But us, as you could say, the serfs of society, or, most of us are, at least by the government standards, considered Shudras. That's not our position. We just serve our boss, and we serve our, hopefully we're serving Krishna in whatever chain. It's just not our position. So, yeah, we just kind of just respect whoever's in office. All right, Biden's in office now. This is the law. All right, fine. Trump's in office now. This is the law. Fine. And that devotees is not getting too concerned, or they're not supposed to get too concerned. But we do see that the other modes of nature oftentimes influence the devotees. But at least we should see. So when this regime is abolished, the whole world becomes filled with thieves who then at once vanquish the unprotected subjects like scattered lambs. So this is one of the benedictions of a king. If there's a strong king who will give punishment to those who do wrong, it stops thieves. But if there's no, like, for instance, what was it, in California, they somehow made the laws that people could just go in any store and you can't arrest them. And people were going in, like, just stealing whatever they want, and just you couldn't do anything. Because the law, I forget who did it, but
when was this?
This was like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Oh. But the law was that you couldn't, like... it
had to be like over like $200 worth of stuff.
It was like a super like liberal, like too kind type of, set of laws where like, no...
It's not disciplining a child.
Yeah. Yeah, and so then people were just going into anything and then ripping off, and you couldn't do anything about it. They told you don't defend it, just do things like this. And what's going to happen? The insurance companies are going to pay it all, and it's just, where's it all coming? It's coming from the taxpayer. So they're just looting everything. It's just like a one big loot fest. But this is what happens when there's not a strong government, actually. So this is so right now we have some guy and he's flaunting some strength and things like that. Who's to say the next guy is going to... We don't know. We just have to kind of just like, all right, Krishna picked this one. Fine. But what he's saying here is that maybe many devotees might think, well, if we remove Trump, all our problems are going to be solved. And Shringi was thinking that if we remove, Maharaj Parikshit, this Brahmin offender, everything's going to be solved. I'll enforce the Lord's will.
Actually, it's just the opposite.
Exactly. Yes. And the world will become filled with thieves and things like this. So who's to say, everything that Krishna is doing has a purpose. So we just kind of have to just observe and see what's happening. Because this is what will happen when there's not strong leadership. Thieves will take over. So purport. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, the monarchical regime represents the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. The king is said to be the representative of the absolute personality of Godhead because he is trained to acquire the qualities of God to protect the living beings. Ideally. The battle of Kurukshetra was planned by the Lord to establish the real representative of the Lord, Maharaj Yudhishthir. An ideal king, thoroughly trained by culture and devotional service with the martial spirit, makes a perfect king. Such a personal monarchy is far better than the so-called democracy of no training and responsibility. The thieves and rogues of modern democracy seek election by misrepresentation of votes, and the successful rogues and thieves devour the mass of population. One trained monarch is far better than hundreds of useless ministerial rogues, and it is hinted herein that by abolition of a monarchical regime like that of Maharaj Parikshit, the mass of people become open to many attacks of the age of Kali. They are never happy in an overly advertised form of democracy. The result of such a kingless administration is described in the following verses. So Prabhupada is slapping around the idea of democracy. And it's a nonsense idea because it's
But he did say too, though, that democracy was really, at the moment, was in Kali Yuga, was one of the best because there's no good monarchies.
Yeah, it got arranged for a reason, but it's not a good system, and it's not something we should flaunt. And he also made many, references instead of democracy, demon crazy, because.
Well, too that, like take America for example, who are most of the voters?
Yes.
A bunch of shooters that don't even know what's going on.
Yes.
I mean,
What's the qualification?
You have to take a test to see if you're capable of actually voting.
You know what? That might be a decent system, but
It'll never happen.
yeah. Well, it's a popularity contest. Is never a good way to assess qualification. You need qualification to assess qualification. But if we're not qualified, how can me and an uneducated person, or let's say I'm educated, or let's say Madhav's educated, and let's say I have no education at all, and I just like, well, that guy, I like the color of his hair, but we have an equal amount of say in who runs the government just based on our considerations. It's insane, actually.
Yeah, it is.
But Prabhupada is
My mother used to base whether she liked somebody like on the clothes they wear, like the tie they wear on.
Yeah, so these type of considerations, shouldn't have heavy weight in, who's deciding who the ruler of the country is, which is a very important position.
Like high school.
Yeah, it's like the high school, class president. But the high school class president barely did anything. So, but it's still just popularity contest. It didn't matter who would do a good job or things like that. It's just like who was kind of handsome or who was popular. But this is.
Even if it's more than that, it's usually just based off their own self-interest of, they're going to help me with my college loans, or they're going to help me with food stamps, but it's never for the greater whole. Everyone's just doing.
No, then you can see the proof of it. That's what everybody's out for themselves, really.
Yes. And so that's the material world, unfortunately. So anyway, how is it ideal when there is a godly king ruling, and he's following the Brahmins and the Vedic principles, which Maharaj Parikshit was in every way, where just this small transgression happened here, and Shringi is making an assumption that, I'll do something about this. But really, he set the whole world into ruin. So let's see what happens when such a king is taken away, when such leadership is taken away. Tadadyana papamupaitya nanvayang Yannashtanathasya vasor vilumpakat Parasparang nanti shapanti vrinjate Pashun striyorthan purudasya vojanaha. Tat. For this reason, adya, from this day, naha, upon us, papam, reaction of sin, upaiti, will overtake. Ananvayam, disruption. Yat, because, nashta, abolished. Nathasya, of the monarch. Vaso, of wealth. Vilumpakat, being plundered. Parasparam, between one another. Gnanti, will kill. Shapanti will do harm. Vrinjate will steal. Pashun, animals. Striya, women. Arthan, riches. Puru, greatly. Dasyava, thieves. Janaha, the mass of people. Due to the termination of the monarchical regimes and the plundering of the people's wealth by rogues and thieves, there will be great social disruptions. People will be killed and injured, and animals and women will be stolen. And for all these sins, we shall be responsible. Purport. The word Nahawi is very significant in this verse. The sage rightly takes the responsibility of the Brahmins as a community for killing monarchical government, and thus giving an opportunity to the so-called Democrats, who are generally plunderers of the wealth of the state subjects. The so-called Democrats capture the administrative machine. I don't think he's referring to the Democratic, party. But
I didn't think that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's... The so-called Democrats capture the administrative machine without assuming responsibility for the prosperous condition of the citizens. Everyone captures the post for personal sense gratification. And thus, instead of one king, a number of irresponsible kings grow up to tax the citizens. It is foretold herein that in the absence of good monarchical government, everyone will be the cause of disturbance for others by plundering riches, animals, women, etc. That's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what has happened, what will happen, and is happening currently. And why? Because there's not a strong king and not a strong leader. So you can only, so we have many unqualified and, people who are looking out for their own personal sense gratification. And so whatever, that's why no matter who it is, whether it's Obama or this senator or that senator, you look at their net worth after taking office, it's just always skyrockets, even though their salary is pretty low, but somehow their net worth goes really high. Why? Because they make laws and legislation and everything. Like even for instance, we have this Micron coming to Syracuse. And apparently they've been saying it's going to come, and everyone's real excited about it over here. But how did it even happen is that the person connected was Jill Biden's family. They were going to profit from it. And so, it might actually help our region based on their own personal sense gratification. But it's obvious. I mean, Trump is really heavy in this cryptocurrency thing. He's already profited billions, and his family members are profiting billions off of these cryptocurrencies. What else? The Bidens were really big in Ukraine and pretty much setting up everything for that Ukraine war. But they made billions of dollars in oil, and especially the sun. And he was doing all kinds of crazy things. And yeah, they made a lot. But
it really didn't go to him.
Yeah, they did good. I mean, financially, but the whole other.
They're not doing well now, so
Yeah.
it didn't really work out for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at the charts, but but whatever they did, they profited at some point. But that's why everyone's doing everything, every legislation, everything that they're all making, all these bills that have thousands of pages, and then the one thing that's a point, like, oh yeah, we're going to help student loans, is like maybe one sentence in the bill, but there's like 10,000 other pages of other things for everyone else's personal sense gratification. And that's just going to continue being that way. And there's really no good solution except people become Krishna conscious and get extradited from this miserable place, because it's only just going to get worse. There's no hope for this world, you could say, until there's
I'm hoping the golden age, at least for a while, will mitigate a bit of that.
Yeah. You know what? But as far as I know, the golden age will make the devotees' lives good, but everyone else is just going deeper into Kali Yuga. So for the mass of people, it'll never happen.
So it'll be the devotees and the demons.
Yeah.
It'll be a very, separate line.
Yeah. So you'll see that, and I'm even seeing, like, for instance, COVID-19 ruined the lives of so many people, material influenced people. But I talked to so many devotees, but the whole idea of COVID, and then the devotees who are already poor and they don't have these big businesses, the COVID, and they had time off from work, the government was giving them money, and they just like had the freedom to do whatever they like. And
even the ones that made a lot of money, they were so happy to work from home because they're like, yeah, I gotta do my son, I gotta do this and that.
Yeah, so the devotees, I like almost every devotee I talked to, they said that COVID time was like the best time in their life. But, everyone else, their lives were like, in shambles. So this is actually just one of the evidences that for the devotees, because devotees have different considerations,
Staying home is nice.
Yeah, staying home is nice. Living off a little bit of welfare from the government it's helpful. Whatever it is, the devotees, they don't get so disturbed by their material They don't have material engagements to be disrupted. But the materialists, all of their engagements are always be disrupted by karma, and it's always by the like you were just talking about, well, I don't think they did very well. That's why, because it bothered another group of, people, and then they said, how dare you get in there and get meddled in this? And then next thing you know, Russia goes in and knocks it all up, whatever they did. But anyhow, that's how it works in this material world. When you try to influence your own personal sense gratification, someone's going to sneak in and challenge you and actually overthrow you. So it's not wise to do in the first place. So there's proper standards on how to do things. We should, live by the laws of the Lord, and we should ourselves offer everything we can to the Lord. And that way the Lord will provide everything, and what needs to be there is there. And what's not in service to the Lord, the devotee, we're not so interested in these things. Plundering of riches, animals, and women, and etc. So anything you can think of, and why are women involved? Obviously, because women are more vulnerable in society. Also one huge thing, children as well. Women and children are always seen as more vulnerable, but we're even seeing now in society a huge problem that's happening, and they're not talking too much about it, but some people are, is this child trafficking. And not just child trafficking, but human trafficking. We had we can't even imagine these circuits and who's involved. It's horrible. But I remember we had a guy here. He was a crazy fellow, but we had a guy here, and he was really disturbed about. He was in like the military, and he said one of the most disturbing things he ever did was they had a mission where they had a shipping crate. And they went, opened the shipping crate, and they found hundreds of young women in there, and like half of them were dead, and and the other half are like barely holding on for their life. But they were putting in there, smuggled. Who knows where they came from?
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
He said they were the most beautiful girls he'd ever seen.
Yeah, and they're like crazy, beautiful, and things like this. But this is evidence of what Prabhupada is saying, that these women are going to be stolen, and animals and everything, plundering from. This is what happens when good monarchical government is not there. So it's evidence is in the Bhagavatam. Shamika Rishi is saying he's a great sage. He knows exactly. He's a Brahmin. Brahmins actually teach the Kshatriyas how to rule properly. So he knows what the world needs. The Brahmins are supposed to know. But because Brahmanism has been all but lost, the world has no idea what to do now, and now it's just crazy. But anyhow, one of the most hopeful, you could say, politicians is Narendra Modi. I think that's his name. But he has he's very friendly to the devotees, but he also has a lot of good, strong Vedic principles, and he tries to rule by that. And actually, he's very popular in India because that's the.
Is he the current prime minister?
He's the current prime minister, and he's been for many years now. But due to his popularity, he'll probably be for some time. But he is someone who at least it looks like they could maybe take some of these principles in there. Yeah. You know, he has a lot of Vedic considerations. You know, obviously he's coming from the Vedic country, but it's interesting that the country they're rallying around the person with the most Vedic considerations, as opposed to his opponents have all kinds of Western secular type of considerations. So anyway, there may be some hope somewhere, but as of right now, it's just looking really bad. I think we'll probably end because it's a long purport, and yeah. So I guess to sum it up, you know, we shouldn't make assumptions like Shringi. We shouldn't act whimsically and you know, act on our own you know, lack of intelligence, and not trust our minds and our own deliberation. The mind should always be supported. If it has a good idea, it should be supported by sadhu and shastra. If your idea is not supported by sadhu and shastra, you have to reevaluate. And if you just assume, like I've done this so many times, I continue to do this so many times, but if you just assume and you don't get clarity from sadhu and shastra, because there are going to be many things that seem a little gray. Like, all right, well, I can offer this to Krishna, but it might be very, you know, a fine line how you can offer that to Krishna. Or what might happen instead is that's going to take you away from Krishna. So you always have to get clarity from the Shastras and also the sadhus, who are the experienced Vaishnavas in this world.
Unfortunately, in America here, that's what I experienced. You know, for a while, going way back, there was a lot of contention about what Shastra was actually saying. People were interpreting it on their own, and it really clouded the whole situation.
They took Guru and Sadhu out of the equation.
You know, can you expedite? There was so many weird arguments and stuff.
Yeah, that's why if you don't have Guru and Sadhu in the equation, Shastra cannot be relied on alone, because who's interpreting Shastra? Conditioned souls who have imperfect senses and imperfect vision, and they're making mistakes as to who they even are and what Shastra even is. So these souls can't actually help us. But
one time at the LA temple there, I went to it was Radharani's appearance day, and I went to a class there, and it was a sannyasi giving the class, but I ended up leaving because I just couldn't accept what he was like interpreting things, talking about the rasa dance, and I don't know, it just got very strange to me. It seemed offensive, so I left. I couldn't listen to it anymore. It was very disturbing to me, so I got up and left.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the circumstance. I don't know what he was saying, and maybe upon reflecting, you may or may not be able to say whether what he was saying was bona fide.
I'm just saying how it affected me.
Yeah.
I just felt it was not a good thing for my mind, and I needed to leave.
So yeah, I don't know the situation, but what I can say is that if we don't have real, like there's sadhu, right? You know, we're technically all sadhu sangha here, but to really get the consolation of sadhu, you should hear from a transcendental personality, someone who has gotten full clarity from the sadhus in their life, and these are like, you know, the spiritual masters. So even like us, if I were to say something, the way that you can verify what I say is look what the other sadhus of past have said, and they should be confirming what I'm saying if I'm actually acting as a sadhu. But the problem is that people, if we don't take guidance from the sadhus, then we just rely on our own understanding of Shastra. It'll be imperfect, and we'll misconstrue the whole thing, and then we'll actually we'll do the exact opposite of what we're even trying to do, because we don't have a mature realization. Just like Shringi, he saw that, oh, you offended a Brahmin, you should be punished. but he didn't take clarity. He didn't take guidance. He didn't ask his father what should be done. He just acted out of pride and arrogance, and ultimately he did way more damage than he wanted. He was trying to be what he thought was helpful, but he just created chaos. So we have to be very careful that we don't also look at Shastra and say, oh yes, I can do just like this, and this can be offered to Krishna very easily, like this, so I'll just offer it like that. But if in any way it can't be, if we're misinterpreting how to use that in Shastra, I've seen that in
Ignorance is no excuse.
yeah, it's unfortunately.
Isn't it also sometimes, because I felt like Craig's felt before, but isn't it sometimes also just like our adhikar might not be to the degree that we can actually take these things in? Because I've heard from some sadhus over like Raslila things, and it's made me uncomfortable, and like I usually just like don't listen to it. But generally speaking, like those sadhus I knew were bona fide. I just knew that I didn't have the adhikar to hear it.
I stayed as long as I could, telling myself I'm not understanding. It's me that's having the problem.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where it was like being kind of like just personal.
It's like agitated.
Personal, yeah.
No, I've got
It was being overly interpreted.
Yeah, it depends on the situation. I can't say, well, yes, this sannyasi was completely in bona fide for talking
But
like
I
this.
wasn't gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah.
radical and
Yeah.
challenge the sannyasa or anything.
He was like a young devotee, like a young sannyasi.
30s.
Yeah.
But
So
I just felt, okay, it's disturbing me, and that's not good. So I should just leave. I'm not going to challenge it. I'm not going to.
yeah, I mean, it could be anything. He was presenting, especially if he was a 30-something-year-old sannyasi. It's a good chance he was maybe presenting. Yeah, he was presenting.
It was like a long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah, this was in 1981.
Yeah. So it's good chance he may have been presenting overzealously and not, maybe not having fine discrimination to the adhikar of the audience or even their own adhikar. But yeah, I couldn't tell you because I don't know the situation, but a lot of times we may hear things and it may rub us the wrong way, but it's not due to the actual what's being stated. It's due to our own inability, due to our coverings of perverted consciousness that don't allow us to accept, or don't allow us to even entertain a lot of these ideas.
Sometimes it's hard to distinguish, though, I feel like.
Well, that's why you need the sadhu and guru to help you. You can't distinguish on your own. You can't do anything on your own. That's why, we don't just sit there and read. And that's why also we don't just say, well, Prabhupada said this, and then, boom, and we just always make an assumption. But there may be a more mature realization also, even what Prabhupada said or this. So we have to, time, place, circumstance, but actually we have to consult with the most realized and advanced devotees really on the planet, really that are available to us. We have to consult with them, and then we can get all clarity. But if we don't consult with the most realized saints on the planet that are available, then we'll make some perverted concoction, and next thing you know, maybe like Hitler, come to some conclusion which is clearly inappropriate, because he also had some, bona fide reasoning with why he, was disturbed by that population. But he just, if he had clarity from, say, some brahmanas, I'm sure he would not have done what he did. But,
Well, it's interesting too, because he, like the swastika and certain other things he got from
the Vedic
culture.
Yeah. But
He did have some knowledge of some of that. So.
Yeah. So but at the same time, because he was his own concoctor of ideas, he actually made a beautiful Vedic symbol hated all across the world. Now the whole world hates the swastika, and it's interesting because swastika means like good fortune. So he's responsible
Now they're
for.
trying to change laws about that, saying that we can utilize it and use it.
Actually, we have swastikas here because some Indians give us like things to decorate your home with. I mean, in India, they post swastikas on their door, like as a good fortune thing.
Ooh.
So Magna had put them on the library door when she was staying here.
Taking a nap now?
I told her she had to take them down.
Yeah, that's happens.
Well, time and circumstance does play a part in a lot of things, and being that we're most of us are shooters anyway, it's difficult.
Yeah, you should never try. No, we should never think we can discern on our own, and we're a complete mercy movement, where we're always getting the mercy of our gurus and the realized devotees and like that. So as soon as we think, oh, I'll figure this out, then Maya's got us, and we are gonna go on an interesting roller coaster
Well, I always
of
go back
lessons.
to asking Krishna to help guide me.
Yeah. Well, that's good because when we have no better option, that's
'Cause
all we
it's-
can do.
It's up to him. And
Yeah.
It's only by his mercy.
Hopefully he'll send that sadhu.
Yeah.
It's only by his mercy, though, that we have any knowledge.
It's very true, but we don't want to. We want to be open to all of the ways Krishna will send. You know, like he might send a sadhu, and that'll be a really great mercy. That we'll have the personal, instead of hearing our own inner voice and trying to decipher what Krishna's saying from that, which might be very vague or fuzzy. You might get the personal expansion of Krishna via the spiritual master, which we chant actually, Sakshat Haritvena Samasta Shastra Uktastata Bhavyata Eva Sadbi, which means it's describing the spiritual master that he's Sakshat Haritvena. He's directly in the qualities of Krishna. He's directly Krishna's representative. Samasta Shastra, all the Shastras are saying this. And Uktastata, and they're declaring. Similarly, Uktastatha Bhavyateva Sadbi. All of the sadhus also consider the same way. So it's we should understand that the best way to hear Krishna is going to be through the spiritual master, through like a live, personal guru. Because, but when we don't have access to that, the best we can do is pray and listen from within. Because that is also a form of guru, and the spiritual master will actually help awaken your connection to that guru and to be able to hear that guru. But if we don't take the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, we also chant Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasado Yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. These are like the Mangalarti prayers I'm chanting,
Okay.
You know these ones?
No, I don't.
Well, and you went to a few Mangalartis?
Yeah, way long.
Yeah, so when you went to the Mangalartis, this is what they were singing. Samsara Dava. So this prayer, but what it means is Yasya Prasadad, one who gets his mercy, like the spiritual masters, Bhagavat Prasado, they get Krishna's mercy. Yasya Prasadan, one who does not get his mercy, Nagati Kutopi, they cannot make advancement anywhere. No matter where they go, where they search, no advancement for that person. So we need, Prabhupada.
But even Prabhupada, he only really met with his spiritual master half a dozen times.
Well, he met with his spiritual master half a dozen times, but he also met with, Prabhupada admitted he had multiple Shiksha gurus,
Right.
And actually there's places in the Shastra that say that you don't, that if you just rely on one guru, that's not enough. You'll need multiple gurus in your life. I mean, just see Abhiram. He has his parents as gurus right now. But at some point he'll need higher gurus and things like that. And at some point, we might get the amazing association of Prabhupada. We didn't get it in this lifetime, right? But others got that association. But when he leaves and they don't have a lot of clarity on issues, there may, be other gurus. Like he told some of his disciples to go hear from one of his godbrothers named Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. He said, I consider him my Shiksha Guru, so of course he could be your Shiksha Guru. So we have to always understand that there's not one spiritual master only. that there is only one spiritual master. It's Krishna, actually. But that Krishna will come to you in the different forms. And it might be Prabhupada at one period of your life. It might be another saint or sadhu. It might be, this, that, and the other. But
Balaram was the first guru.
yes. Yeah, well, the Balaram is the original guru, the expansion from Krishna. But, I mean, you could say Balaram is coming from Krishna, so you maybe say Krishna is the first guru. But Balaram takes charge over all of the jivas, or the living entities.
That's what makes Bhagavad Gita so special, because
Yes.
Krishna is personally instructing Arjuna
Yes,
as his guru.
yes. And he's also personally instructing us how we also need to receive enlightenment. It's through also that guru. Like and Arjuna is helping too. He says, Yach treya shanishchitam bruhitan me shishyashteham shadhimam tvam prapanam. He's saying, please tell me that which can guarantee my auspiciousness in this life. And I am your disciple, a soul surrendered unto you. So unless we follow the same thing. And you notice Krishna didn't give Bhagavad Gita until that happened. And as soon as Arjuna did that, then Bhagavad Gita comes. So until we do that in our life, then Bhagavad Gita comes. But the surrender unto Guru is not like it's not a formality. It's not something you do at a ceremony. It's an ever-evolving dynamic process where, to really surrender oneself. That means whatever you say, I will do it. Whatever you say, I'll do it. But it's to get to that point is you have to surrender the false ego completely. Not easy. Not easy at all. So
Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness is simple, it's just not easy.
Yes. Simple for the simple, and some people can very easily, yes, you know what? You're my spiritual guide, I'll just do whatever you say. And, for Indians, they have a lot more easier time. They're more simple, but due to the Western complexities of the mind and things, it's very difficult for us to give up control, give up the position of trying to be the enjoyer. But if we really want to understand anything, if we really want to make advancement, we'll have to surrender everything. And then Krishna will give the mercy. And that's why Sharanagati, or surrender, this is the pathway to bhakti. Bhakti can't even be in until we surrender. But to surrender might be the work of us in this lifetime, before real bhakti actually begins. Just to do the work of surrendering. And then, because surrender itself isn't a limb of bhakti.
Kitchery, so he relaxes.
Yes. Did you bring the kitchery up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So, Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki.